Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
And then he goes, $59.99. Nope. Anyway, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. How's it going, Rasco?
It's going great.
Indeed it is. Rasco of Rasco's Modern Life is joining me, and I am, of course, Sid Part 2. Rasco, you do the, let the people know what they need to know.
Oh my god! I can't. I'm sorry. Playlist, old episodes, download, link, description. Piece it together.
It's not that hard to remember, is it?
It's just the last thing that I'm thinking about during my day is, oh, gotta remember that.
But I've said it so many times.
I know, I keep forgetting.
I know.
I never think you're gonna ask me.
It feels like you've been called on in class to answer a question.
Oh, that's
and, like,
dude, but that is me in class though. Like, I'm that person that's like doing a million other more important things during my classes, and I'm like, the last thing I'm paying attention to is what's going on. Please don't call on me.
Oh, that's so funny. Just you get like little. Like, I imagine you just turned into a little like dandelion of stage fright. That's so adorable. Oh man. Okay. What you, the listener, need to know is that you can download episodes of Geeky Gentlemen. There's links in the description. Download this episode so you can listen on the go. You can download old episodes by checking out the Geeky Gentlemen playlist and leaving a comment on an old episode you'd like to download, and I'll post the downloading website for you and let you know it's up there. You can find the Geeky Gentlemen playlist by either searching in the YouTube bar Geeky Gentlemen playlist, where you can search through all 360-something of our episodes, or you can just go to my channel and find it there. Anyway, Rasco, what are we talking about today on this particular episode of Geeky Gentlemen in Holiday Month?
Talking about what the worst holiday is.
Okay, and I gotta know, what made you think of this?
I get like stressed out during holidays because this sounds horrible, but I mean like, it's like I have to do shit I don't want to do.
You're still a teenager. That's totally normal.
It's like some of my like most traumatic experiences are just like, oh my god, are you kidding? Like, there are so many things to do during holiday season. I'm just like, oh my god, this is just a stress. Let's get over this.
I just don't need this in my life right now.
So many like trips to go on. Like, we talked about this before Christmas. Is like, I hate going to visit family. Mm-hmm. I hate it so fucking much. And holidays bring this out of people.
Yeah, I can see that. They do get very exhausting. I agree. My joke with holidays has always been, I will never understand why people who don't like each other and have nothing in common feel the need to sit down together and have a ridiculous dinner just because they happen to share some DNA.
I totally get that. And it's like, you say that, and it's just one of those things where people don't ever talk like that. And when they hear oh, that's so horrible of you, they're your family. But, like, no, like, I'm of the mind that your family, it should be more than just your DNA's the same, boy. Like, if your father left you when you were born and, like, another man married your mother and, like, he raised you, that's your dad, right?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, yeah, it's just, like, these kind of, like, I also, that's a lot more, a lot more inspiring and from the heart kind of way to think about family, where it's like anyone can be your family. You get to build your family, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things I like so much about Bad Santa too.
Yeah.
Too bad it couldn't save that movie for Connor, but whatever.
That was one of the things I liked about Bad Santa too. I agree.
Yeah, it's a good message. It's a message we don't get nearly enough in holiday.
And we get the exact opposite, though. Like, literally, I just watched an episode of Flash. It's a Christmas episode, and one of the characters in there, their brother died. He hated his brother, and we've only learned about how horrible his brother was. But because there was a few times in their life where they got along, he's so like, man, you just gotta make it right with your family, dude. If there's anything you gotta do, it's you gotta make it right with your family. And I don't believe that. Like,
yeah,
if your family member sucks ass, you don't have an obligation to, like, make things work. If you want to, that's one thing, right? If that's because of you, but you shouldn't be guilted into feeling as if a family member, no matter who they are or what they are, is deserving of your love.
Yeah, and that's, again, I've talked about this, and I don't like my brother, I don't talk to my brother, I want nothing to do with my brother, but constantly I'm pressured that way of, oh, you gotta forgive him.
He's your brother!
Yeah, he's your brother, he's the only one you got, he's family. I'm like, doesn't never treat me like family.
He killed my dog!
Sometimes it feels that way, shit. So no, I totally get that. That's where I feel on a lot of these things. You don't have to accept someone just because you happen to share some goddamn DNA. I don't know, man. It's a weird feeling, and so holidays are just a bizarre concept of the way we spend them, like with people we don't like, because we feel that there's this odd societal obligation that I think is kind of compounded by like, movies and media and all that other stuff. I think it makes more sense in ye olden times when, like, moving to another city could very well mean you will never see your family members again.
Yeah.
Like, that makes more sense as to why spending family time together, like, especially on holidays when you have the excuse to and the ability to, when you're not called away to do other things. I think that makes more sense in older time periods. But in an age of mass communication, and I know, of course, Skype calls and phone calls and all that stuff isn't exactly the same. But it's a major bridge, right? Compared to what it used to be. It's a million times better than writing letters. So, I don't know, I feel like it's a weird holdover from that is then compounded and turned into a greater societal pressure because of movies giving us that message. And it's a really cliche message. Like, every other Christmas special has something like, oh, you have to spend time with your family, yada, yada, yada. And I don't know, like, it's not something I necessarily disagree with, but I question how much thought different people put into that message.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think that is a message you come to by applying no critical thought.
Yeah, I agree. I question how much thought is put into it, and I'm tempted, I'm certainly not going to make blanket statements, but I am tempted to say that it's just the lazy Christmas special theme. Mm-hmm. And that bothers me. Again, it's not that you can't have a message of family is the most important thing as your Christmas or whatever theme and have it work. That's what worked so well about the Larfleeze Christmas special, right? Is he wants all this stuff, but all the one thing on his gigantic list that actually matters is his family.
Yeah. And
he can't get any of it, but especially that. That's the thing that works about that. So it can work. I don't want to say it's always lazy or it's always bad. The point is, it seems like it's rarely well thought out. But anyway, getting to the topic itself of what is the worst holiday. So, like, Kwanzaa, right?
Okay, well, so you've interpreted this differently than me. No, well, no, you're thinking the same way I am, but I wasn't thinking other cultures. I was thinking just the holidays that, like, I partake in.
Okay. No, I just, like, am tempted to say Kwanzaa because at the very least it has a just horrible marketing problem. Like, I legitimately believe at times that Kwanzaa was just something black people made up to make white people feel awkward. Like, anytime some white person says to a black person, "Oh, Merry Christmas," and they respond, "Happy Kwanzaa." Like, I feel like it was just a thing that black people made up to make white people feel awkward. Conspiracy theory time. Because, like, no one knows what the fuck Kwanzaa is. So I think it's objectively the worst holiday. Black people don't even know what Kwanzaa is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only reason that joke is funny is because you don't know what the fuck Kwanzaa is.
Yeah,
so
see, it's fun. Like, I know of Kwanzaa. Is it kind of a ripoff of Hanukkah?
Kinda. It's just like the bootleg version of Hanukkah.
Yeah. Hanukkah 2. TOO.
Yeah. Okay, so what you were saying is, like, holidays that you participate in. So you would consider, like, Halloween as a potential candidate for worst holiday, then?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's not exactly what I meant for holiday month, and I guess this kind of gets into what is a problem with the whole catch-all of happy holidays, because you could say that to someone when they come trick-or-treat at your house. You'd be like, "Happy holidays." It's like, that's a weird thing to say, but it does technically apply.
Yeah.
So it is a weird catch-all of the whole PC culture thing, and, you know, what the fuck ever. It comes from a place that actually makes some goddamn sense, because guess what? Not everybody's Christian, you bastards.
Yeah, you know, like, I go back and forth on this. This is one of those things where it's like, if you give a shit what someone says to you, I think it's just on anyone. Like, if you are Jewish and you say, like, I think that it is both perfectly acceptable for anyone to say Happy Holidays, but at the same time, I think that it's fine for anyone to say Happy or Merry Christmas or, like, Happy Hanukkah or whatever the fuck. I think that that's actually kind of like this is how I say what you would say to me, Merry Christmas. This is how I say it to you. Like, I don't think that it should ever really offend anyone. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's...
I don't think it's like a matter of being offensive. I think it's just a matter of being like a considerate person, because you don't know if someone is Jewish.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm just saying, like, if I say Merry Christmas to you, like, I'm not even a Christian.
Yeah,
but if I say Merry Christmas to someone, like, it's, even if they're Jewish, like, they obviously know what I mean when I say that. Like, whatever the fuck you do around this time of year, whatever. And then if they said Happy Hanukkah back to me, I don't give a fuck. Like, obviously that would be kind of weird for that to happen, like, to explicitly say that to someone you know is not, but it's whatever. It's just one of those things where it's like, how do people care what fucking people say to them in the holiday season?
It cracks me up how enraged people get about this, but it is like, I'm not gonna lie, there is an underlying point just on a linguistic level.
I get it, yeah.
How stupid Happy Holidays is as a season's greeting, because you could literally use it for Easter.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Easter! Happy Holidays!
Yeah.
Wait, what? It's not specific enough, but at the same time, Happy Winter Festival, that is too, like, that doesn't sound natural. So, anyway. But no, we can talk about it still, because there are a lot of holidays that happen around wintertime. So let's condense it, to Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, and New Year's.
All right.
I think those are the like, you know, holidays we think of when someone says Happy Holidays, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once again, I'm not going to include Kwanzaa because it's automatically the worst on purely a name recognition standpoint. Just that one's gone. Okay, where's your vote for worst holiday?
I think the worst holiday is Thanksgiving, because I think Thanksgiving is redundant.
Okay.
Thanksgiving is Christmas without any of the fun shit.
Yeah, and it's also based on something horrible. I agree with you right off the bat. I completely agree with you. Episode over.
We're done here.
No, seriously, I completely agree with you. Fuck Thanksgiving. It's based off of a goddamn lie. We started up Geeky Gentleman History Month a couple years ago in November as celebrating the holiday of lies, Thanksgiving, because it's bullshit. Like, I don't know if I told you about this, but I was at work before our little vacation for Thanksgiving, and my boss asked me, he's like, "Hey, are you excited for Thanksgiving?" I'm like, I have mixed feelings. He goes, "Why?" "Well, I'm really excited to have time off that I'm getting paid for, because that'll be really new to me. I'm also excited not to be working a holiday for the first time in like 2 to 3 years, but at the same time, I'm part Native American, so I have very big problems with Thanksgiving." And he's like, he looked at me, and it was so sincere, and just came out of like pure ignorance, so I wasn't mad, but he looked at me and goes, "Well, the Native Americans celebrated the first Thanksgiving with us." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I know. It's just the stuff that happened after that I'm a little salty on." It's just like, the whole premise of Thanksgiving is just such utter bullshit. So yeah, I agree. And then you don't even fucking get presents out of it. You still have to deal with all the same goddamn people and all the stress.
It's literally like, it is, okay, we had Thanksgiving, right? We're about to have Christmas. What is literally the difference between what will happen when I go to my grandparents' house in Tennessee? The only thing that is different is that we get presents on Christmas and you get jack shit on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then, like, the name, Thanksgiving, like, that's a message that, like, is, like, already encompassed by Christmas. Like, the spirit of giving and and generosity and all this bullshit. It's already there. And Christmas, like, fuck you, Thanksgiving. You're useless. Get the fuck out of here, Thanksgiving.
oh my god, that's really fucking funny. Fuck you, Thanksgiving. Well, it's interesting because Thanksgiving was just like kind of started as like just an excuse to have another holiday. It's not like people have historically been celebrating Thanksgiving since the mythical first Thanksgiving. It was started in the late 1800s again to give an excuse for another holiday. It's been celebrated since, but it's a government holiday, so that's weird. It is like just completely useless. It has a very shallow sense of tradition to it. So yeah, I agree. Fuck Thanksgiving. Except for the food. Like seriously, we don't need Thanksgiving. We just need, okay, this is the day that you're supposed to eat a lot of food.
Yeah.
To celebrate your excess. To celebrate your white privilege. I don't know. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Thanksgiving's objectively the worst. So, from there, since I don't want to post an 18-minute episode of Geeky Gentleman, from there, let's rank the remaining holidays of the winter season.
All right.
So that Thanksgiving comes in our number one spot of the worst. What comes in at number 2, Rasco, for you?
So what's still on the table again? Christmas, New Year's?
Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's.
Okay.
Because Hanukkah, I do feel, is actually celebrated. Kwanzaa, if there's someone listening to this that actually does celebrate Kwanzaa, I'm sorry I like making fun of your holiday so much for being so, poorly marketed. But it doesn't count. I'm sorry.
So,
you lose.
I actually think pretty highly of these last 3. So, okay. I don't think I'm going to... I can't really rage at any of them. I think I'm just going to rank them how I see them at this point. So, Hanukkah, I think, would be next. That being said, okay. I think Hanukkah is drastically better than Thanksgiving.
So, it's like a really, wide margin that Thanksgiving wins for you.
Yeah, it's like a huge gap. So, Growing up, my grandmother, she's a Christian, but she was married to a Jewish man, and we kind of celebrated both Christmas and Hanukkah sometimes when I was with my grandmother, at least.
Okay.
So, like, I'm actually very familiar with Hanukkah. Hanukkah's kind of cool because it's just, like, elongated Christmas in a way.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, that's kind of cool. In a way, you can say, oh, well, it's annoying because you just have to stretch out this bullshit for, longer than it needs to be stretched out for. And that's fair. But I'm going to put Hanukkah there. Hanukkah's not bad. Dreidels is cool as shit.
Well, it's funny because, like, I don't think I'd put Hanukkah at number 2, but I do think it deserves to be pretty low. Because I found out this little factoid today that, like, I think perfectly encompasses Hanukkah as compared to Christmas. And that is that a lot of the most famous Christmas songs were written by Jews. Which is just really funny to me. And, like, they were interviewing, I think it was Bon Jovi about this. And he goes, yeah, they all grew up with fucking Christmas envy, so they started, once they came of age and were able to start celebrating Christmas, they were, like, really into it, so they wrote these great Christmas songs.
Yeah, I totally, and that's the thing, we'll get to Christmas in a moment, but, Hanukkah, it doesn't got a tree, but the menorah's kind of cool, it's got fire, it looks cool at least.
Menorah's interesting. No, I don't think I'll put Hanukkah at number 2 just because, like, it's the whole you get the 8 presents, that's cool.
Should we go through, should I go through my whole list and then you go through your list so we can, like, hear each other's justifications afterward? Like, because if we go like this, it'll be awkward. Should we just go, like, down each person's list, or do you want to go one by one?
I have the sneaking suspicion that we will be stretching to make it to an hour, so I want to go one by one.
All right, we'll do that then.
No, but the thing is, we won't talk about the same holiday twice this way. We'll just go, and that's why I put Hanukkah at this one. So just, keep a list somewhere where you can go through it and reference it.
All right.
So, no, I wouldn't put Hanukkah at number 2 just because, I've been told from some Jewish, I got a Jewish friend, I've heard from other Jewish people that, like, after the third night, no one really celebrates Hanukkah. You just, after the third night, it's like, okay, this is fucking exhausting, just open up the rest of the goddamn presents, this is stupid.
I should also point this out, I'm not Jewish. I mentioned that I participated in Hanukkah. I'm not Jewish, though. It's really... it's really weird. It just kind of happened while I was around because there was a Jewish person in the house. So I just by nature of existing near someone else, I was a part of Hanukkah.
Indeed. Yeah, so I wouldn't put Hanukkah as low. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Hanukkah besides it being your number 2?
No, not really.
Okay, so my Hanukkah is for me number 3. For me, my number 2 is New Year's.
All right.
And this is entirely on a personal level. Because as someone who doesn't drink, New Year's is entirely pointless.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, it is just so Thanksgiving is both pointless and horrible and stupid when compared to Christmas. New Year's is just pointless as someone who doesn't drink, because it's like you're just celebrating the fact that you got to go buy a new calendar.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing to celebrate.
Yeah, but
time is such a relative concept that we just fucking make up anyway because it happens to work out. So there's no actual event that you're celebrating. It's not like one day we decided this would be when a year happened. We just kind of fucking needed to be able to budget our time and shit. So we eventually did it. But we're not celebrating that action. We're celebrating buying a new calendar. And so that whole part of it's pointless. And then if you don't drink, then all the parties are just about getting drunk and staying up past midnight. So that's pointless and boring because there's nothing worse than being the only sober person at a party. It is so fucking boring.
Mm-hmm.
It's just mind-numbing. I will never, ever understand people going, oh, that party was so fucking epic. I don't even have to be there to tell you it wasn't. I promise it wasn't. I promise it was a bunch of fucking morons running around falling over for 3.5 hours. That's all fucking ragers and drunk parties are. So that was... So, yeah, for me, New Year's is just such a fucking waste. I hate New Year's, honestly. We're such, like, curmudgeon-y old men in this video, Rasco.
Oh, yeah.
We're ranking holidays.
All right, so do you want me to say where I rank New Year's now if we're talking about New Year's?
Yeah, and your thoughts on New Year's.
All right, interesting. So I'm going to say I'm going to rank New Year's at number 1.
Really? I thought Hanukkah was your... Or not Hanukkah. I thought Thanksgiving was your number
Oh, no,
one.
I mean, like, my, best.
Oh, New Year's is the best for you. Okay.
Yeah, so here's what I like about New Year's. We don't have to fucking, make up some nice message bullshit, right? Fucking cut to the goddamn chase. This is an excuse to get fucking smashed, alright? That's New Year's. It's the excuse to hook up with someone. It's the excuse to, finally, all of that shit. You don't have to add some, nice moral lesson to it. Bullshit. Fuck that, right? It's just indulge for a day, right? That's New Year's. On top of that, though, what I like about New Year's is that it's like a way to, even though it's ultimately pointless because you could choose to change any day, it's a reminder that any day you can change and that the next year of your life can be a completely different or better life, or you can do or achieve whatever you want in this if you decide right now to change. And I think that what's cool about New Year's is that, like, while it's bullshit and that you could do that anytime, New Year's reminds everyone, hey, motherfuckers, self-improvement's a thing, right? You could do that. You could be twice the man you are now and by next year if you really wanted to. And it's just a reminder of that. But at the same time, if you don't want to have that component to it at all, fuck it. It's just party, have a fun time, right? It's New Year's.
Yeah, I mean, like, I like that aspect of it, but again, you make my point for me. You can do that whenever. You can do that literally whenever. And honestly, you could do that same thing on your birthday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that would have arguably more significance than New Year's would.
But it's a great excuse, dude. That's the point. That's why I like it, because it's the excuse holiday. It's like, come on, let's just fucking cut everybody a break.
Okay. No, see, I disagree. I think that it's just, like, it's such a fucking waste if you don't drink, though. It is an excuse. I agree with you. It's an excuse to party. But if you're not a partier, it's fucking mind-numbing. You just have to deal with, like, and you can't go to bed because at 12 o'clock people are going to start shooting off fireworks and, like, banging pots and shit. So you can't abstain from the holiday. You are forced to be a part of it, which is, like, the worst part. Like, you're the one earlier talking about you hate traveling and having to deal with, like, family and people you don't like. You can't avoid New Year's. You have to put up with it, which is bullshit. There's nothing good on TV that night, It's just you got to deal with all the bullshit. So yeah, that's why New Year's is my number 2. And Hanukkah's my number 3, though. Okay, Rasco, how about you? Where do you rank Christmas then?
All right, so I guess this is the last one I haven't mentioned. So obviously, I guess it's under New Year's, I guess.
Yep.
My number 2 slot, if we're talking best or worst to best,
Okay, wait. So your number 1 is Thanksgiving.
For work.
Number 2 is Hanukkah.
And then Christmas, then New Year's.
Okay. All right.
So, Christmas is a good holiday because we've gotten so far away from the religious aspect of Christmas when it comes to a lot of how people celebrate Christmas.
Well, the history of Christmas is absolutely fascinating because it's a pagan holiday.
Okay, yeah. Can we talk about this? This is why I'm going to rank it at number 2 and I can't rank it at 1. Because Christmas, there's a couple fails there going on, right? One, the Bible never fucking mentions what day Jesus was born on.
Yeah, it was a Roman compromise to convert pagans.
The only it's like it's a winter solstice, right? I mean, it's like that's why everyone's arbitrarily picked it.
No, it's not arbitrarily picked. It is based on the winter solstice.
Well, no, yeah, I shouldn't have said arbitrarily. That's what I meant. Yes, it's based on such a stupid thing, like such a meaningless thing that it's the winter solstice.
Mm-hmm.
It's whatever, but I think that's funny. And I've actually read things where it's like likely Jesus would have been born in like November or something.
More likely like August maybe, just because like fucking when would you feel comfortable being out in the cold with goddamn sheep?
Yeah.
When would you feel comfortable cutting that date off? It's whenever it got cold is when you'd stop doing that. Mm. And so if you were to take the events of the Bible as historical fact, which you'd get into muddy waters there. But yeah, I agree. It's not really about Christ. Like people go, oh, don't call it Xmas because you're taking the Christ out of Christmas. Really? What the fuck is that tree doing in your living room?
Yeah. It's so funny. Like, and I think, there was some comedian or someone that said this really funny bit one time, and they were like, this Christmas thing, it's great. You got this tree and gifts and presents and Santa Claus, and I hear there's this religious component to it or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like, everything else about Christmas is so much more fun than like, all right, guys, it's Jesus' birthday. Like, that's the last thing anyone's thinking about. Everyone's thinking about the other more fun, magical elements of Christmas, like Santa Claus and elves and bullshit like that, right?
Yeah, totally. I agree. And like, Santa's a better Christmas character than Jesus because all that happened with Jesus on Christmas, if you were to, like, take the church's, arguably pragmatic bullshit as fact, then all that happened on Christmas was Jesus was born, whereas Santa's the one doing all the goddamn work on Christmas. Santa's the one you should be all like, yeah, go Santa.
He's busting his ass.
Yeah, Santa's doing everything. Fuck Jesus on Christmas.
And Santa's still fucking alive, dude.
Yeah, celebrate Jesus on Easter. That's a good time to celebrate Jesus.
Yeah, that's a much better,
what he did
more suiting Jesus. And even with Easter, though, everything else about Easter that's not related to Jesus is so much more fun, right?
Yeah.
Candy, Easter eggs, and bunnies and bullshit.
I think you get candy, you gotta find the eggs, that's fun.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable for the kiddies.
Yeah.
Still will never understand how the Easter Bunny came out of Easter, because that is actually a religious holiday that makes sense.
Yeah.
But somehow we got a bunny. I will never understand how, but it happened.
See, I think these are all the tricks. Like, it's like, oh god, no one wants to fucking dedicate a day to this bullshit. Okay, we'll throw a bunny in there. Bunny. It's fun. Look at the bunny. Like, that's how it works.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I don't know, man. I find the whole thing just utterly ridiculous, the way that people go, oh, the war on Christmas, and they're trying to take the Christ out of Christmas. People don't think about the context of what they're doing. And so that just baffles the shit out of me. Because, like, Christmas tree is a German pagan tradition that was carried over to the British in the 1800s, I want to say. Maybe a little bit earlier. Maybe late 1700s. Is a British tradition, or is a German tradition carried over to the British because the German prince married into the English family. God, I hope I'm not fucking up my dates. Reasonably sure it's 19th century. Someone fact check me on that if you're really that curious. But yeah, like he came from Germany. It was the German pagan tradition of putting a goddamn tree in the house, and so they started doing it in the royal family, and then everyone else wanted to imitate them, so they started fucking doing it. It's ridiculous. And yet people are like, oh, they're taking the Christ out of Christmas. Let me just set up my pagan tree
You've already done it yourselves.
Right?
You have done that yourself. The Obi-Wan line from episode 3.
Yeah. Oh, I remember reading, and this doesn't have anything to do with anything, but we're stretching for time, so whatever. I remember reading this really interesting story that I came across in the most bizarre way possible. You might be too young for this. Do you remember LimeWire?
LimeWire? I don't think so.
It was like one of the early ways to download music and stuff.
Oh, definitely no.
Yeah, before... It was like after Kazaa and Napster, but before torrents really took off. Even though it was basically a torrent hoster, but early days. So, like, I was downloading music and stuff on LimeWire when I was in middle school. And I downloaded this, somehow, I was looking for Christmas music or something, and I somehow ended up downloading this really fascinating Christmas story that was just, it was all written on a damn text document. And this is so weird. I'm trying to remember the details in a concise way that I can describe to you guys. Basically, this guy got hit by a car and died or whatever. And then his spirit went down to hell. And it turned out that, like, limbo was not being able to get into heaven, but having to stand in line at, like, a club with a very strict bouncer to get into hell. And the whole justification is, yeah, I mean, you aren't good enough to get into heaven, and that doesn't mean we're just going to take you. You have to actually do something to end up in hell. So he was just, like, stuck in limbo as a ghost. And while he's in limbo, he meets Santa Claus. Because Santa is, like, the ghost of Saint Nick, rather. And Santa Claus educates him that as a ghost, he can affect the living world still. And it's this really interesting thing of, like, so the elves are really ghosts, and, like, they're all over the world. There are people stuck in limbo all over the world helping to give children presents on Christmas Day and attributing it to Santa Claus. And they're doing, the right things. So all the little Christmas miracles are really these people stuck in limbo making all this happen. And then toward the end of the story, Santa Claus tries to go, like, every year after Christmas, he does all this good to try to, win his soul over so that he can get into heaven. And he goes toward the light to get into heaven. And, like, the light embraces him and is almost about to let him in, but then at the last minute throws him back out into limbo. And the main character who we've been reading all this with in first person then speculates as to why heaven will not let Santa Claus in. And it's because Santa has become a false god. And is worshipped as such. And it was just this really fascinating fucking story, dude. I loved it. I wonder if I can find it again somewhere. But it's just this really, really fucking fascinating Christmas story. It's very, very unconventional. I really liked it. But I don't know. I find that there's some commentary in the way that people get really upset about Christmas losing its religious backing, but yet those are the same people that put a tree in their house. That's bizarre to me.
Yeah. Can we talk about the war on Christmas?
Yeah, sure.
All right,
whatever the fuck that made up Fox News bullshit is.
Oh my god, like, the war on Christmas is one of those things where it has created itself. Like, so here's what I mean. Like, people generally don't give a shit when it comes to, like, stuff in their life that is not, like, something that they directly are, that's not directly affecting them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't give a shit about, like, what the fuck you say to me, right? If you say Merry Christmas, I don't care anything. I don't care if there is Christmas shit all over the fucking place, right? But what happens is something will happen where, like, someone will put, like, a Christmas tree with a cross. This recently happened this year. It was, like, a Christmas tree with a cross on it. And it's, like, someone, like, sued or some bullshit because there was it was on government property. I don't know where the specific Christmas tree with the Christian cross was, but, or crucifix or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But, this was somewhere, and you see that story, but you don't see the story of the guy who was forced to take down his zombie Jesus nativity scene. Right? That happened. That's a story. Right? Oh, you made fun of my faith. I gotta come, butt fuck you now. Like, I just hate this, like, I hate it when people feel the need to give a shit about this. At the same time, though, like, there's a legitimate argument for why you shouldn't have a cross on government property, right? Mm-hmm. I just think there's a solid argument there. So if we have to have that discussion, I will side on that. But the problem is, the people that force us to have that discussion are almost always the people that want the cross there, right? And if they didn't bring up that discussion, I wouldn't ultimately have to say, well, if you logically go down the list of what we as a country have decided and what that kind of implicates if you do have a cross on government property, all these things. If you go down the list, I think it's very easy to come to a logical conclusion that, yeah, we shouldn't have a specific religion endorsed by the government. And it's like, I think that's a perfectly reasonable position to take. But it's like, why is it so important that you do have that there? And it's like, it's just this situation where it's like, you create opposition when you bring this up. When you say there's a war on Christmas, you're literally creating the opposition to Christmas when you do that bullshit.
Yeah, it's this weird fucking thought process because, like, fuck the whole militant atheist movement. Those guys are just such, like, assholes. Those are totally the guys who, like, the teacher comes in the room and says, if one more person makes a fart noise, everybody's getting detention. Like, that is the entirety of the militant atheist movement, is they're just the most, like, annoying assholes in the world. But they do this shit like, oh, the local courthouse has a nativity scene and, menorah and all these other things to represent different faiths in the community. And we're gonna put up a sign that says, enjoy this winter solstice season with those closest to you. Sign the atheist community.
I think that's funny, though. Like,
yeah, they specifically do it just to piss people off, and then get all like, oh, why are people so mad at us?
Well, see, like, that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna do that, don't, like, I was just being, I didn't mean to offend. Like, at least own up to it, right? Like, that, I mean, yeah, like, I'm a big fan of people trolling as long as they're willing to, like, handle the repercussions of that.
Yeah, but that's the thing is they're not. They're like, they want to be victims, I've heard atheists, like, on that whole thing go, and, I say this as an atheist myself, I've heard atheists go, oh, we're the last group in the world that it's okay to hate, and yada yada, and, like, they'll say, oh, well, yeah, atheists aren't persecuted? What about in these countries where if you're an atheist, you'll be executed? You're not fucking living in those countries. You want to do something about those countries, go do something about those countries. Here's an idea, maybe in those countries. Quit acting like you're being persecuted in this country.
Well, here's one thing that is bullshit, and here's one thing where I will say this is oppression of atheists in America. There are states in America, I think it's like 5 to 15, where you literally cannot hold public office if you are a self-identifying atheist.
Like not allowed to?
It's literally a disqualifying factor.
Okay, yeah, that's bullshit, but at the same time, that's easily changed bullshit, right?
Yeah, also at the same time, it's very easy to be like, I celebrate Christmas. Like, it's very easy to lie about that, right?
Yeah, but no, I'm just talking about, like, atheists want to feel persecuted because victimhood's the big in thing now, and it's ridiculous. And of course, it's used to, like, the fact that victimhood is in vogue now allows people to diminish victimhood, which is a problem. So that's why I don't like victimhood in Vogue.
Well, yeah, and then the thing about it too is that like it's not a thing that anyone wants to not be, right? Like if you're one of these people that likes to victimize yourself or pretend to be a victim, it's not like you actually want to change or anything to change. Like you want that. You like the fact that you get to claim the victimhood, right?
Yeah, and that's what's annoying. And like it's a fine line, obviously, but still it's just one of those things. Regardless of all that though, just the whole hypocrisy and misunderstanding of the situation of like representing your faith versus being respectful of other faiths and stuff. It's just crazy. It's crazy the levels of hypocrisy that people go through in trying to justify, like you were saying, the cross on the tree in a government building. Because you would never like this. Wow, this is a very this is an episode where we're bringing up a lot of political topics I did not expect to. Like when we hear about people passing like laws and shit, saying it is okay or you're legally protected to like pray in schools and all this other stuff, which honestly, yeah, I'm fine with. Pray wherever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
We're only thinking of Christian prayer when we do that in this country.
I can't stand how we pretend that we've taken that away from people. That is just one of the biggest, most patently bullshit
Well, no,
things.
regardless of that, though. When we pass shit like that, when people are passing shit like that in this country, they're only thinking of Christian prayer. Now, if I were to go into, like, if I were in university, and I were to go and find, like, the direction of Mecca and start praying to it, people would flip the fuck out if I did that shit in the middle of a class. Like, the professor's just giving a lecture, I pull out a rug from my book bag and roll it out on the floor in the direction of Mecca and start praying. People would find that, you know, distracting to their schoolwork. There'd be a whole list of complaints. And if I were like, well, the state passed a law that I'm allowed to pray wherever I want. It's like, that's not what they meant, though. So it's like just these levels of hypocrisy and fundamental not understanding what you're passing kind of things. But at the same time,
though, like, it's not like the law doesn't protect you there. Like, if people want to react like cucks, then that's what they're going to do. I mean, you don't have to give a shit how people are going to react to this.
Oh, I love that cuck has become the new internet insult.
Oh, I fucking love cuck, dude. Cuck is great. I love cuck.
It has the right sound.
Yeah, no, it's exactly, it's perfect.
Yeah, sure thing. No, if you're a cuck, it's cool. Everyone's into whatever they're into. I don't care. Just don't fucking get me involved. That's all I ask. That's all right. Fuck it, tangent, because this is something I've found myself thinking about recently. Tangent not connected to literally anything that we were discussing at all, and I'm sure people are going to click away from the video, but this is something I actually want to get Raska's thoughts on. So do you feel like you're kind of like me as far as people's sexual liberties, just as long as everyone involved with it is okay, there's no children, and no one's getting hurt, you're cool with whatever sexual perversion someone might have, right?
Yes. All for it.
Does that extend to exhibitionism since you are involuntarily involving others in your sexual acts?
What is that? Explain to me what that even is.
Like if you have sex in public.
Oh, okay. So other people have to see you having sex?
Or the potential for them to.
Right, so like this is just one of those things where in Jackson World, or Raskotopia, I don't know what you call it.
I like the second one better.
Raskotopia. Like, I'm just not the kind of person that would go, we need to make sure people aren't having sex in public. I just don't give a fuck about that. It's the last thing on my mind. If all of a sudden, there's some drastic issue, like, it's just one of those things where I hate this, I just hate this, like, shamefulness that people have towards humans. Like, we're so embarrassed of what we are, it's hilarious.
No, I agree. I find myself, like, kind of, because, like, you just heard me, like, if you're a cuck, whatever, I don't fucking care. Just don't get me involved. And that's the thing, is I just don't want to be involved in your sex lives. Like, as long as what you're doing is no children, no one's getting hurt that doesn't want to be, everything's consensual. I do not give a fuck. I don't think, I think I take exception to exhibitionism because it breaks that everyone involved is consensually involved, because I don't, like, would you really want to fucking walk into a department store and there's just two people going at it on the counter?
It would be an entertaining world. I mean, you can't deny there'd be a lot of stories. Yeah, no, I was okay, actually, know what? Fuck it! No, get it out of here! You know why? You know why?
What?
People would fuck in the movie theaters while I'm trying to fucking watch a movie, and I don't want that shit. There's enough stuff going on in the movie theaters with people being obnoxious without people having sex.
See? Like, you'd just be annoyed. Like, just imagine you'd have to be fucking, like, looking at people who you don't want to see naked. Like, so, yeah, I
don't want your cum everywhere. I don't want your vaginal secretion. Get it the fuck out of here. You know what? Never mind. Get it out of here. Get it out of here.
Yeah, okay. Just random little thought I've been, like, kicking around in my head is, like, where exhibitionism stands on my lines of sexual, conduct that I allow. And so, yeah, that's another one where I'm kind of like, yeah, that one's off limits. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Fuck, how did we get there? Shit. Oh, that totally derailed the whole conversation. Right? That derailed the whole conversation. Like two beauty school rejects fucking in a bathroom. Oh man. Okay, I think I've got it. So we were talking about just what you're allowed to do in public and how you're allowed to behave amongst others and deal with other people. And how that relates to displays of religion, and ultimately how that relates to religion's place in Christmas. And it's interesting because I was thinking of suggesting the topic of how religious a holiday is Christmas really, because obviously I don't think it is. It's a pagan holiday, and there aren't any, as far to the best of my knowledge, the majority of people that celebrate Christmas are not pagans that are honoring those pagan traditions. They're honoring those pagan traditions because they don't understand the tradition. They just know everybody does it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think Christmas is a particularly religious holiday. Like, we hear people try to justify it in Christian religion with, oh, well, the three wise men brought Jesus gifts. Yeah, unless you're giving each other gold, frankincense, and myrrh, I don't think it counts. They didn't bring Jesus a bike. So I don't think it's a very religious holiday at all, and so I find the idea that people attach this like really intense emotional religious connection to it kind of hypocritical when they have, once again, a pagan tree in their house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that bothers, because if you did that shit in Salem, if you put up a tree, and even if you had a fucking cross on it, you put up a tree in your house in Salem back in the day, you would have been hanged. Because that's a fucking pagan ritual. Even if you were like, oh no, I'm doing it to celebrate Christ, it's just a family tradition thing. No, that's a pagan ritual. So I just find it entertaining how people don't understand the context of this traditions they celebrate. And yet then complain about this idea of a war on Christmas and trying to take the Christ out of Christmas. But let's talk about what I like about Christmas, since it's my top one. What I like about Christmas is the sense, like we were talking earlier about the lazy message of like forcing you to get together with your family just because you share blood, and that's not how I view what family is. But I do like the message of forcing you to get together with those whom you care about. That's a message I do support, because life is fucking busy. right? You can go, like, I moved out of my mom's a couple years ago now. And I didn't even realize it till she called me the other day. But I have not seen her or talked to her since Thanksgiving. And she just called me like 2-3 days ago. And I'm like, it just goes by so fucking quick. You don't notice it at all. It's a flash. So one of the things I like about Christmas is that it makes you slow down, and you know that you're supposed to go spend it with those that you care about. Mm-hmm. I really like that aspect. That it forces you, and it forces everyone, because it takes responsibilities that you would otherwise have off the table by and large.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you don't work on Christmas. Like, if a company is making you work on Christmas, it's a shitty company, and people look down on that job, so they encourage you to get another job. If you're called in on Christmas or whatever, it's looked down upon. I like that societal norm. I like that convention. Regardless of what religion you are, because again, I don't think it's a religious holiday. So I like things like that. Also, it's nice to get stuff, and it's nice to put thought into what you are getting people, even though that gets really fucking difficult at times, especially when you're buying for people that you don't know super well. Mm-hmm. Because, like, you ultimately do end up spending some time during the holidays with people who you don't know particularly well because of different family connections. Like, I like my fiance's family. They are nice people. Her dad's a bit of an oddball, but whatever. I think it was last Christmas, we were at their family's for dinner, and we're all sitting there eating at the table, and Haley's mom just goes, "So did your dad tell you two he was thinking about selling the house?" And her brother just, like, looked at him. He's been moved out for years and years anyway, but he just looked at him like, "What? Huh? Details?" Her dad's just sitting there eating still, looking down at his plate, doesn't feel any need to acknowledge what was just said whatsoever. He's just so off in his own little world. The guy's a character. I find that dude just endlessly fascinating. But anyway, like, I spend time with them. I don't know them incredibly well. I have to buy them stuff for them, and they have to buy stuff for me. And, I don't think we get each other the best gifts in the world. Mm-hmm. Whatever. But I'm doing that so Haley can spend time with her family, who she cares about. You make, sacrifices, and I don't want to call it a sacrifice. You make concessions. I don't know. There's a better word there that's not coming to mind. Compromise. That's a good one too. For others, and that's also part of Christmas. And so I like a lot of that stuff. That is part of Christmas that I do really enjoy. That, free shit.
Free shit, motherfucker.
Yeah, and there's also, you get some quality stuff here and there. It's nice to see some of the Christmas specials are cool, I'm secretly hoping, I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but I'm secretly hoping that my Larfleeze motion comic becomes somebody's Christmas tradition to watch. I really secretly hope that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. I mean, the comic was 6 years old. I don't think many people would have kept reading it over the years, but now that it's kind of like immortalized on YouTube in an easily accessible way, I don't know. Maybe just maybe. Yeah, just throwing that out there. What is something you like about Christmas, Rasco?
You already got free shit. I guess, Just generally, I don't know, what I like about Christmas is I feel like generally everyone's a better person around Christmas.
Mm.
And that kind of says something about humanity a little that kind of sucks, is that, like, it requires a reminder to be good. But, I don't know. I just like the idea of everyone trying their best to be a little bit of a better person around Christmas.
I can agree with that. I like that about it too. That's nice. That people feel the need, because it's the holidays, to just be better to each other. And yeah, it's not great that it requires a reminder, but a good deed's a good deed is a good deed.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the way I look at it. Yeah, I'd tend to agree with you though. It's kind of a bittersweet thing, I guess. That is a nice part about Christmas. That's something worth enjoying. I guess we just had more fun complaining about holidays than we had to say positive. Did you have anything else positive you wanted to go for?
Well, what's always great about holidays is
What's
they
that?
end.
Yeah. Give you that one.
They don't last forever.
What's your favorite holiday food, then?
My favorite holiday food? Okay, shit. This is difficult. I'm not a fan of, like, Thanksgiving turkey, really. It's not my thing. I don't really like that many Thanksgiving foods. I do like pumpkin pie. I love the shit out of pumpkin pie. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'll go with. Probably pumpkin pie.
Me too. I love pumpkin pie. Wish I could have more of it, but I can't anymore. Yeah. I don't know. Just random little filler bit for the episode. Let me look something up real quick. Okay, this is going up on the 18th. Our next episode will go up on the 25th, Christmas Day. Okay, well, I feel like we've kind of reached the end of this topic, though. We've got our list. Mine went from worst holiday to best holiday is Thanksgiving, New Year's, Hanukkah, Christmas. Rasco, what was yours?
Mine
Worst to
was
best?
Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's.
Yep. Okay. Well, that was fun. Thanks for listening, everyone. Let's see here. What we're going to talk about on Christmas Day. Well, I said I'd pick it if I got a second review choice, and since Ben never showed up, I guess I got a second review choice. Next Sunday on Geeky Gentlemen, we will be reviewing Rise of the Guardians.
Okay.
So that should be fun, hopefully. Hopefully people enjoy that. I'm cautiously optimistic about the movie. It looks just unique enough to be fun. So that should be fun. Let's see, what else is happening that week? So we'll get one more regular episode of Geeky Gentlemen. On the 22nd, the review of Christmas Vacation will go up. And on the 29th, you'll get the review of Klaus. Okay, cool. Should be a fun time. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Till next time, I'm the Philosopher.
And I'm the Squantus.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.
Merry Christmas, boys and girls.